put in the ghee and boil off the water,
Yeah.
because then you don't have any gritty bits in
Yeah.
the eye. So it
Yeah.
will be better. So maybe
I
if
have
you,
patients with that, the cold weather, really when it starts rainy and windy, they go out, their eyes start watering. And sometimes that could be if it's an ongoing problem, could be a blockage in the duct, tear duct. What do you think?
that's, yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah, and
point.
if there is a blockage in your clear gag, when it cannot pass from here, then you start your lacrimal duct actually. When it's blocked, then you start watery eyes. And for the dryness as well, if you have a dryness in the eyes, then also you can have watery eyes.
Then the sign, and then the nasal drops as well.
Yeah.
There's a message from Tamara. It's quite nice. I'll just read it out. Further consultation with Vijay Naheed today. After 6 months of continuous improving, I am ready for the next level of well-being. Feeling grateful. Okay, Tamara, thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clara.
Can I just,
Don, you're frozen.
Breaking, Dr. Brennan.
Yeah, his screen is frozen.
Don,
Yeah.
yeah.
We can't hear you.
With his internet. Roberta Shields says, great to have a session on marmotherapy. It is, but unfortunately, I don't think
Oh, he's back, I think.
doing that at the moment. Don, are you back?
I think I am I?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
see
you
that.
are. Yes,
You're
yes.
frozen.
Oh, good. Just to follow up on Naheed's thing, the lacrimal gland drains into the back of the nose. The A735, the nasal drops used regularly, may just help to clear that blockage. Is worth trying.
And followed by steam inhalation with ajwain seeds. That can
Whoa.
clear all the channels over here.
Actually, that's interesting because that's one of the things that was recommended for helping to prevent COVID was steam inhalation with ajwain seeds. And I think it was recommended for healthcare workers, particularly when they come home, just to steam with those seeds. So they must have a good effect of helping keep all that area very, very clean. MP16 seems to be fantastic for everything above the neck. That's what I was once told by Avija. Anything above the neck, MP16. It's the nose is the gateway to the brain. So definitely things like migraine and sinuses and keeping that area very clear. And the great thing about MP16 is very cheap. It's not an expensive herb at all. So it's how do you use ajwain seeds for inhalation? You just put them into boiling water and then just put a cloth over and inhale the steam. Basically, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see how we're doing. We have 154 on. We're 1935, so maybe we should start thinking about playing our video. Are the doctors happy enough we go ahead, or?
Oh, very happy.
Very happy. Good. When you're happy, Dom, we're happy. Okay, so we'll start lesson. Oh my God, that shouldn't have come up. We'll start lesson number 5. So I'll share the screen. Now,
yep, you can see.
great.
You can hear.
Okay, enjoy, everybody. See you later.
Perfect.
Introduction to Maharishi Ayurveda.
Take that extra rest to balance your vata to help the healing. It's like a bony break. So, bones are a vata tissue. So make sure you're taking plenty of good nourishment for your bones. And you would rather take natural painkillers. It depends on the extent of the pain, because I think, there are, Guggulu is like gum from a tree like myrrh, and it has pain-killing effects. So it's in the MA1673 tablet, or the joint suit tablet. I think
that's 574.
574.
We're talking about Boswellia.
Yeah.
1673 is frankincense. So 574 is the myrrh, Boswellia. Yeah, that was a good one. And joint soothe oil, probably massage gently, very gently. Apply warm joint soothe oil with few drops of inhalation oil in it.
Lovely.
There are very natural painkillers. They all tend to be illegal. So it's, but there are things in nature that are used for killing pain, but you can't buy them, unfortunately,
You could definitely massage and heat, hot water bottle.
If you have any Ayurveda therapist near you, Dr. Brennan, she will be beneficial from little gentle steam, Nadi Svedana and Katipasti, that kind of treatments.
Yeah, lovely. So Karen and Billy, what is good for blood pressure? Lots of things are good for blood pressure, but the one thing I think that I would suggest more, which is evidence-based, is the practice of transcendental meditation. And there were a lot of questions about that, and there is an app whereby you can do most of the course on your mobile phone, but you do still have to meet the TM teacher on one occasion. And I'm sorry, Tamara, that you're living 120 miles from your nearest one. Your nearest one is probably in Cork, so I'm surprised you managed to get 120 miles distant from Cork if you're living west of Cork. But
This case in Kerry.
she stays in Kerry. There's also Julie Ryan, who's listening tonight. She's in Limerick, so she could be closer. But the thing to do is go on tm-ireland.ie, and you'll find your nearest TM teacher there. I think there was a question about Meath and Louth as well, the nearest TM teacher. So again, you go online.
At the moment, your nearest centre, no teachers are teaching at the moment in Ireland. We've all.
They still are with distancing. I think some are anyway.
I don't think so, Don. I was talking to Ontario Tourists today, and they're not teaching. You know, I mean,
okay.
So I could be wrong, but anyway, like I'm not teaching anyway. That's for sure. But
Sure.
Ontario Tourists are going to be back teaching in December. They hope to be back teaching in December. But yeah, so they're in Ontario Tourists is in Rathmines. So and then Dr. Brennan's wife is Anne Brennan, is a TM teacher as well in Monkstown, but I can't imagine Anne is teaching at the moment, is she?
She hasn't told me she's not.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think there was an instruction for us not to teach at the moment that came out. But anyway, but they're all on that website anyway. And Maharishi once said about people traveling to learn TM, he said, you know, years ago you had to go into the Himalayas to get this knowledge. You know, people had to leave home and travel for thousands of miles. So the fact that you have to drive for 100 miles or so is no big deal, because this is something you have then for the rest of your life once you've learned it. And it'll be the best journey you ever made. And there are TM centres well, certainly throughout the UK and Ireland, that's for sure, you know.
There's a wonderful question there, Noel. Are the ingredients for Roscinas sourced, harvested, traded, produced fairly, organically, sustainably, ethically, and environmentally friendly?
Yeah, well, I would like to think that they are, but I actually couldn't guarantee that, you know, because I think the company we deal with, Maharishi Ayurveda Products, they're a very nice company to deal with. They do tend to treat their workers in a very good way. They are trying to go as organic as much as possible. But it's very difficult to say if every single ingredient of the thousands of different herbs that are, you know, if every farm worker is treated properly, if some of them are wild harvested, some of them probably are, you know, they have to be done in a particular way. But I would say overall, I'd be happy enough with their approach to the thing. But, you know, I'm not as foolish enough to think that, you know, I can't answer that question
I think that's very honest of you know, because, you know, we're dealing with India and it's not always the same perfect standards as we may have here. However, Maharishi did set up this industry to achieve or to aim for the highest standards. And one thing they're doing is developing their own farms in different parts of India. And as Noel says, they're very good to their people who are working there, and they do it very sustainably. They're also very much aware of what is on the endangered list, which they won't go near, and what also that they need to plant if they're going to use, because you have to, for another category, demonstrate that you're planting the same amount as you're taking. And so they are aware of these things.
Absolutely, because people ask these questions and people are becoming more and more, you know, concerned about these things. The other thing about Maharishi Ayurveda Products, and it's one of the reasons we sell them, is that everything is tested. Everything is tested for pesticide residue, for heavy metal residue, for lead levels, for mercury levels, for arsenic levels. All these things are well, not pesticides, but mercury and lead and all these things. They're naturally occurring substances. They're in everything that you eat, but there are permissible levels, parts per million. And we test everything that we sell in European laboratories to make sure that they fall within the guidelines. And that's why maybe our products are, well, there's a couple of reasons why they would be a little bit more expensive, but one of them would be that there's a lot of money spent on testing and making sure that the facility that they're produced in is completely up to scratch and there's no contamination, because there's different rules in India than there are in the West in relation to metal amounts and stuff like that. There's very strict rules in the West. So they're all tested in that respect. I think probably the best I can answer that question is I'm happy that they're moving in the right direction, but I can't put my hand in my heart and guarantee that there's absolutely no damage caused by what they do. But there's very few things in this world that there's no damage caused by, you know.
And I thought it was interesting that what Maharishi initially did was work with Dr. Triguna, who was the Ayurvedic physician to the President of India. He was in charge of the Ayurvedic Association in India of about 300,000 to 400,000 Ayurvedic doctors. And Maharishi put him in charge of this industry and then established a committee of 20 Ayurvedans who then researched all the old texts to bring out the traditional recipes, which then they had to make in a very modern facility, which is why, as Noel says, they brought in the laboratory in-house to test every raw ingredient for its natural. Ayurvedan would recognize them, but just to be sure, the signature of chromatography and from a modern perspective, to ensure they had the ingredients that were correct. And then each stage testing for active principles as they were processing, and then the final product tested for the standards and reached for the Australian standards because they were far more demanding than the WHO standards. So to get the highest international standards for their products. So they're trying, that's all we could say.
There's a second part of that question is, in which year were these lectures recorded? Actually, I don't know. Don, what do you think? When were these?
I think it's within the last 5 years. It could be as many as 5 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Keith Wallace looks. I've seen Keith Wallace more recently, and he looks pretty much as he did in there. Of course, he's probably not aging at all. But anyway, yeah. Well, within the last 5 years is the best answer we can.
Somebody said 2017, so maybe two people said 2017.
So Sonia asked, is imbalance caused by the disease process occurring first in the body or in the mind? And this is the dilemma we have, because we were trained to divide ourselves into bodies and minds, but in fact, we're one thing. We're a consciousness which reverberates is intelligence, which structures a body. So it's a mind that precipitates. It's anxiety becomes adrenaline. Happiness becomes interleukin 2. So it's a mind body. Now imbalance can come in at any level. It can be, the food that you ate, or it could be the emotional trauma you experienced, or it could be the mental pressure. And so the imbalance can occur at any level, but it affects the whole lot. If you have an imbalance in the body, you have an imbalance in your mind. If you have an imbalance in your mind, it's also chemically entrenched in your body at the same time. And that's why Ayurveda bringing all these different strategies from all different levels that synergize to create the overall balance.
Rajvinder, any questions there for you? You're very quiet this evening. Someone asked, eating all nuts. There's a very easy question for you, Rajvinder. Maria says, does this mean we should avoid eating all nuts?
No, you shouldn't. There are, in the arthritis, if you talk in concern of arthritis, we are talking about lecithin in the plants. Lecithins are like a defense system of the plant. They don't want us to eat them, so they have this chemical, and that causes inflammation. But it's a way of cooking and processing them. That's why certain beans, tomatoes, nightshade family, and nuts like cashew nuts, so they are the problem. But if you soak them, like if your vata is the dryness from the nuts, that's a problem. Or taking tablespoons of nuts butter, that you shouldn't. But small amount of nuts, like average recommendation of almonds, for example, is 5 to 7 almonds a day. And if you soak them in the water and then you eat it, because you get rid of the dryness from them. and then the seeds. And also, as in the previous lectures, it is we have discussed about roasting them, soaking them, so you follow that procedure, but eat in moderation. And there was another question about the wise water and what water we should use for cooking, tap or I don't recommend personally bottled water because of the plastic. I even go to India, I never drink water from bottles. I see lots of people start drinking minute they get on the airport, bottled water, but that's a lot of plastic and all that stuff. So if you're worried, depends on where you live. There could be copper, there could be fluoride, other things in the water. So you can get an under sink filter. It's expensive, but maybe worth. And wise water is you add certain spices into the water, and those spices could be recommended by your Ayurveda practitioner according to your dosha, according to imbalance. So the normals one we all the time talk about, CCFT, cumin, coriander, fennel, the basic one. That's what is wise water. And that's Dr. Nancy's book, Ageless Woman. She has given a lot of recipes for wise water. We talked about that book on our Women Health webinar. So that is the wise water here. Okay. And
Abigail asked, can I use more than one rasayan? Of course you can. If you need it, you can. But just, the first question is that, do you need it? So if you need it, you can have it. And, a lot of medication at a time, it's not required. Like, simple medication, like one or two, because medicines also needs to be digested by your body to give you the benefits of that medication. So if you need it, just consult with any of the physician and you can have it. There's no problem in having more than two rasayana.
There's a question about can you reverse chronic illnesses like inflammatory arthritis through Ayurveda, or is it a question of managing the illness? Well, that's why Ayurveda is so valuable, because it's about managing and treating and healing. And it's hard to say if you can cure, because it's a matter of establishing what's the nature of the person, what's the nature of the condition, how deep has it gone, how long has it gone on. And then there's 4 categories in Ayurveda. It's curable with ease or curable with difficulty. It's manageable but not curable, and it's hopeless. And so those are the 4 categories. But many conditions that medicine would see as incurable, Ayurveda would see as not only manageable but often curable. And arthritis is a very good example of that. You only treat symptoms with medicine in arthritis. You treat causes in Ayurveda, and for many arthritics, it's very effective and useful.
But you have to work hard. So some people give up in the middle, and that's frustrating for as a doctor as well. And I understand as a patient, but you really have to be ready to work hard with your diet, with your lifestyle, with the herbs, and you have to be patient. You can't see the result in a month or 2 months.
No, it's not a pill for
certain things like you cannot reverse that. You can stop the the ongoing process, and you can just strengthen the body to get healed properly. There are some second condition where you just cannot reverse a few things. So
Yeah,
you have to be prepared that you have to be on medication for long. You have to work hard through diet, lifestyle, and lots of things.
But the thing there is that there's all sorts of side effects of all of this living well. Like you feel better, you have more energy, you're happier. And this is sort of the side effects you suffer from using an Ayurvedic regime. So I think, it's self-enforcing in that within a month or 2, you're feeling so much better. It's worth the changes to you. And, eventually you wouldn't dream of going back to that heavy meal in the evening, because it makes you feel awful when you do, by contrast.
Yeah, it takes times in the beginning. Some people think they can never do it. Their husband eat late in the evening. They can't do that. They have to eat with the family. But I think slowly, one step at a time, you get there.
Great.
And then
there is a question about acidity feeling in the evening. Any suggestion for the remedy? And maybe a pitta imbalance rising. Yes, you're right. Your pitta is imbalanced, but along with that, a vata imbalance can be there, because if you are feeling like a sore throat, if you're feeling that your acid is coming up, in your throat, then along with pitta, your kapha, your vata is also imbalanced. So you need to focus on balancing your pitta, like do not indulge into spicy food, do not have sour food, and do not have a lot of salty foods, fried foods, and eat your meal on time, so that there is a second gap, you can digest your food properly. And there are a lot of herbs which is there which can help you to balance your pitta, like yashki madhu. So yeah, you can do that, just focusing on your balancing your pitta.
There is another question. Is it correct that free radicals are formed more if eating meat and meat products? Poonam, it's even more significant than that. Not only are you eating a lot more free radicals, but when you eat plants, you get a lot of antioxidants because plants protect themselves and they create these incredible antioxidants, and all those colorings in the red cabbage, the green leaves, the orange squash, all of these colorings are actually phytonutrients. They're incredibly good antioxidants and they protect you against free radicals. And it's one of the reasons that those who eat a whole plant diet live longer and have far less of the major killers, heart attacks, diabetes, strokes. So it's now the evidence is in. It's only been sort of hidden or confusion created by food industries, but the plant-based diet is definitely far healthier than the meat-based. Sorry about that. I'd suggest gradually weaning towards chicken and fish and gradually getting a few recipes of Rajvinder or whoever that allow you to start to move in the direction of more plants.
And there is a question about Parkinsonism. Can a patient be helped out though taking many drugs? So we always get question about Parkinsonism. So, Vata is responsible for all the movements in our body. We are talking, we are moving our hands, even we are, every movement in the body. So if your Vata is balanced, what Vata do is they give you proper movement and everything. But if your Vata is imbalanced, so you are going to have uncontrolled movement of your body, maybe trembling of your hands, or maybe you're not able to walk properly. So if you focus on balancing your Vata, so you will be like very helpful in balance in your in managing your Parkinsonism. So you can have like consultation, or you can follow you're following the course. You'll get to know too many things, how you can balance your Vata. So it will help you to to manage your Parkinsonism.
Thomas, good few questions coming in about Amrit Kailash. So I would say myself and Dr. Brennan made a video on it not so long ago. It's on our YouTube channel. Just go to the YouTube channel and Dr. Brennan discusses MA4 in detail on that channel. And Anna Carey asks about toxins in the environment and especially in paint. Well, artists have suffered for using paint for many, many, many centuries, I would say, and much worse in earlier days than it is now. I mean, many an artist died from the poisons from paints and mixing pigments and stuff like that. So yes, I mean, those toxins are there, that risk is there. So you minimize it and then you do as many ways as possible to eliminate them from your body. But there's environmental toxins everywhere. That's just the way life is these days. They're just everywhere,
I think the prevention is the best cure, but at the same time, if not totally possible, cleansing treatments from Ayurveda. The Panchakarma would be the most specific and useful thing there. And it can be that the mini Panchakarma can be organized with a consultation. Also, coriander is an excellent spice to use plenty of as something to help you detox. And just sipping hot water often through the day, that actually helps to flush toxins out as well. Make sure your bowel motions are functioning regularly. That's another way we get rid of toxins. No good if you get constipated. It's preventing an easy release of toxins. And another way of detoxing is saunas, actually. But if you're not too pitta, it's another way of clearing toxins. You actually clear more of the heavy metals through sauna, through your skin, than in other directions. So consider methods of detoxing as well.
And there's a few questions there about TM and group meditations and stuff like that. If you've already learned TM, I run a group meditation every day. have done so since last March on Zoom. So send me an email, noel@ayurveda.ie. Tell me who your teacher was, and I'll put you on the mailing list for that, and you can join in. There's also one daily, twice daily in the UK with Peter Ledbetter in the morning and in the evening. But I do mine. We start at 5:15 with some chanting, and then at 5:30 we meditate every day. But you have to have learned TM with a proper teacher of transcendental meditation. So if you want to join in that group, you just send me an email, noel@ayurveda.ie. You tell me who your teacher was so I can check it out, and then I'll add you to that list. We're getting very close to the end here. Dr. Brennan,
Yeah.
do you want to?
Can I
Someone
take
wants to
one
give
question?
someone wants to give Amrikalash to animals. Great idea, animals with
Right.
cancer. And
Robert can give.
Amrikalash is good for all doses and all ages, but the paste has sugar and ghee. So for some, like diabetics, that mightn't be appropriate. Otherwise, they're quite good.
Go ahead, Dr. Rajan.
Margaret Kelly asking question on Hirayama disease, if any of the doctor have experience. Actually, I had a guy today, I did a Shirodara on him. Muscular dystrophy is very difficult to treat, possibly, yeah, as you know, no cure for it. But you can slow down the progress of the dystrophy with the Ayurveda treatments, and there are a couple of treatments like Shashti Shali. I can explain how to make the decoction and how to do the massage with that. And there are certain herbs you can manage, and you can slow down the progression of the dystrophy. But I think it will be difficult to fully treat it. But maybe Dr. Brennan might want to say something on the Hirayama. It's like a muscular dystrophy.
I think there are strategies within Ayurveda, the balance vata to nourish
but
the nervous system.
not curable though.
Yeah.
You
that
can
is-
just manage the vata and
Yeah.
slow down the progression with the herbs like ashwagandha. If you have the strength, or someone can do the daily massage on you, there is a special oil, Dashamul oil. I will recommend to do the massage, and regular steam, and Shirodara treatment is very good. And then the black gram urad dal will be very good as well to eat. So really strengthening your bone marrow and strengthening the balancing the vata. That's what you can do.
Okay.
Our
So
bagpipe player deserves an answer. He's worried about the blood pressure. It might not be his, but he's doing TM already, or she's doing TM, whoever is asking the question, or they're asking for. So the TM is good. So being regular with that, there's a DASH diet, DASH, Dietary Process for Systolic Hypertension. Look it up online. It's evidence-based to reduce blood pressure. Your exercise is important. Losing a little bit of weight would help. And there is a preparation available only through NOL, MA303.
no,
But maybe you better prescribe it under the observation, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. We can't just give that.
That's true.
Yeah.
What
What about that book, Dr. Brennan, Balance Your Blood Pressure? There's an Ayurveda, very good book.
Perfect Blood Pressure by
Perfect
David
blood
Lyne.
pressure.
David Lovell Smith.
David Lovell Smith, yeah. Perfect Blood Pressure by David Lovell Smith, yeah. Or that herb works very well, MA305. So I don't know, but it's prescription only, really, so probably best to have a consultation with one of the doctors.
You need to know you're the right person for it. Could be a bit strong, so.
Okay, so someone said, Boo, I don't like that time goes so quickly. Thanks, everyone. But unfortunately, time has run away from us, So listen, I'll be sending out the Q&A on this tomorrow. Also, I got some details of a postgraduate Ayurveda course that people can do. It's mostly online, and then there's 3 weeks in Slovenia as well. It's a postgraduate course for doctors, for people who already work in the healthcare. You don't have to be a doctor, but you have to be a naturopath or, Chinese medicine, or you have to have a license to practice some form of medicine. And it's a 1-year postgraduate course. I'll send out the details about that as well. Don't forget to put the 13th of November into your diary. That's a Friday the 13th. That'll be lucky Friday the 13th at 7:30. We're going to have a great evening that evening. And then Dr. Brennan's webinar on the thyroid on the 18th. I know there's a lot of people asking about the arthritis one and the cookery course. Don't worry, we'll do them. We'll get them done before Christmas for sure. And That's fantastic. I think we'll call it to an end now because it's getting
Ian Middleton definitely deserves his question answered. Is Googaloo and Mir the same? They're very, very similar. They're trees of the same genus, and Mir is more in the Middle East, and in India it's Google, and so very similar, very, very similar. Sorry, now no, I let it go.
Gold, frankincense, and myrrh as opposed to gold, frankincense, and Googaloo. But anyway.
And the interesting thing there, Noel, was gold was for wealth. Frankincense, I can't remember, but myrrh was because it was considered, what do you call it? A cure-all. So it was to represent health because it had such good qualities.
Sanskrit name for myrrh is Rasanjan.
Rasanjan. Okay.
Rasanjan, which is a rasayana.
Okay. Very good. And on that note, we'll end it. Okay, everybody, great. Have a good night's rest. We're on again on Thursday, so that's not too far away. I'll send a review tomorrow. I'll send a link for this on Thursday. Nobody emailed me missing the link today, so that's fantastic. So, okay, great. And we had a lot of people on the call as well, even though they're dropping off now. Okay, everybody. Namaste.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
God bless.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.